It's the Beat 99.9 FM. My name is Segun Emdin, joined now by the champion, welterweight champion, current welterweight champion. What a guy. There's loads of things to say about you, but, the Nigerian nightmare is what always sticks out for me whenever we talk about Kamaru Usman. So quickly, can you just tell us about that nickname? Because I'm like, okay, Nigerian nightmare, that's what happened. What's really going on?
That's a very significant nickname because we have heard it all before. It signifies excellence in your respective sports, your realm of athletics. We've had Nigerian nightmare soccer players before. Everybody knows certain players, that were famous because they were known by that nickname because of their excellence on the field.
Yeah.
We know of the boxer, heavyweight champion that of Nigerian descent, Samuel Peters. He was the Nigerian nightmare. And also, here in America, we had a football player, Christian Okoye, back in the 90s. He was known as the Nigerian nightmare because nobody could stop him. And so once I got into the sport, I was looking, obviously, everyone they tried to find a nickname or something crazy. But for me, it was only fitting because there wasn't many Nigerians doing this. And so with the plans that I had for myself, I knew that I had to have a nickname that was significant to that. And I needed to, of course, represent and put my country on the map. And so the Nigerian nightmare was only fitting because, and also mentally, when I'm inside that cage, I am a nightmare for anybody that I'm fighting.
I mean, your record shows that 18-1-0. That is ridiculous, man. To me, when I saw the record, I was like, what? This was before your recent fight, 17. I want to know that was the record at the time. But now you're pretty much unstoppable, and you're actually back to talk because UFC fighters can be a bit boastful and say all these things. Not a lot back to talk, but you're one of those that actually backs the talk. Let's just go back in time just a bit. To your time here in Nigeria as a kid and having to move. Can you just talk us through what that was for you as a kid at 8 years old, going to a new country and settling and all of that stuff?
It was it was hard, but as a kid, you were only able to comprehend the situation and the circumstances that you're in. And it was what was happening. I had no control over anything. This is what my parents said to do, so you had to do it. But as a young child in school, it was tough initially because when you come to America, America is completely different from Africa. In Africa, and I feel like the difference is in Africa, you almost they celebrate differences. They celebrate, oh, this is somebody new. It's a new person from a new place. So we want to learn about you. We want to know where you came from, and we have that perspective. To where here in America, you're different. They they shun away from you. So that one was difficult because being the kid in school who didn't speak English primarily as well as them, without the accent, it made it a bit difficult, because, and no, let's not forget, kids are cruel. Kids are very, very cruel. And that made it a difficult time, but everything passes. With time, everything passes. You get better with the English, you get better with the studies, you learn the ins and outs, you learn the slang. And now, people forget that I'm African. When I start talking to them and they hear the English, they're like, oh, where you from? I have to then eventually let them know, say, na Nigeria, I'm a correct Nigeria. No, they can't.
Yo, that's interesting. I'm looking at your record in high school, and this is actually ridiculous. You're what, 53-3 in high school. What, like, when you kept winning, these fights, were you thinking, wow, I don't even know how I'm doing this, or was there always a motivation for you that you had in front of you that this is every time I go into these challenges, this is my mindset, and to be consistent with that and have that kind of record, it's not easy. What was your mindset going into these fights at that young age?
I never, when I was wrestling, I never thought of it like that. I never thought of, oh yeah, my mindset is this and that. No, my mindset was always, I expected to win. I guess that's what was kind of different about me. Is I expected to win, so it was never a surprise. Like, oh, I won again. I won again. Oh, I need to keep winning. No, I expected to win. I trained hard. I made sure that I put in the work. So every time I stepped in there, I was gonna win. I expected. The only surprise is if something happened that I did not win. That was a surprise. But I expected to win, so it wasn't a big deal to me. So the numbers just pile up. I don't really care. It's not a big deal because I expect to win. That's my mindset. Every time I go in there, I expect to win.
And obviously, there was the NCAA wins as well, where there's a crazy record there as well. I'm 44-1. These records are insane, man. Like, do you sometimes look at records and be like, "Come, I don't try. No, it's ridiculous. But that was, those are like the building blocks to get you to where you are now, which is, of course, being a UFC champion. Let's talk about getting into the UFC, the backstory behind that, and the beginning years must have been tough because you come into a championship like that. There's going to be a lot of people looking down on now. Who is this guy? Who does this guy think he is? Who is this nobody? And for you to work your way from bottom up, well, how was that like for you?
It was tough initially because, like I said, when I do anything, I expect to win. So a lot of people aren't used to that type of mindset. A lot of people are, I see so many people that are, oh, I hope I win. I hope I win. Man, I lost. And they doubt themselves getting there. The doubt is part of it. That's part of the game. You're always going to doubt yourself. Yeah. Your body's always going to try to tell your mind that, oh, we can't do this, or maybe we shouldn't do this. It's scary. It's tough. I doubt, of course, I get those doubts too, but there's no doubt in my mind. I come to win. When I get into it, I'm going to win. So getting into the sport, starting from the bottom, I expect it to win. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a new sport. I expect to win. And so the only surprise was my second professional fight when I didn't win. That was a surprise to me.
How do you come? It was like, okay. For someone that has that mindset, when you go into fights consistently, you know that you expect to win, like you said, and now all of a sudden you lose. So how do you pick yourself back up and get yourself back into winning again? Like, what's that? That's serious mentality.
It's devastating. Yes, it's devastating. That's the devastating part of having the type of mindset that I have. Is it's devastating when that doesn't happen. When you expect to win and it doesn't happen, it's devastating. Like, we have the highs of highs in this sport, and we also have the lows of lows. And so when you go in and you don't win, now you have to assess why I did not win. How come I didn't win? What happened? And then if it's one of those type of assessments where it was that person is just better than me, there's nothing that I can do to beat that person, that's a whole different psychological ball game that you have to deal with. But for me, luckily, I assessed it and it was, oh, I lost because I didn't have the knowledge that person had.
Yeah.
The knowledge of the things that he did to me in order for him to win. So I need to acquire that knowledge. I need to go learn it. Wherever they are teaching the knowledge, I'm learning it. Wherever they are selling it, I'm buying it. Because I have to make sure that person cannot beat me. Nobody can beat me again. And I've done that. And that is as part of the main reason why I am where I am today.
Yeah. Speaking of the knowledge, do you watch your fights back and pick out a few things that are like, I need to improve on that. I need to keep doing that a bit more. I should do that better. I should do that less.
Yes, absolutely. Even this last fight, I got hit. First round, I got hit with a big shot, big right hand. That it looked like it hurt me a little bit, but I have to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Because I like it to be a flawless victory. I like it that way.
And that mentality is quite solid. The last fight was quite emotional for you. Yeah, it was one of those where you're up against someone that you know quite well, and his ambitions, obviously, because this is a friend you're fighting against. So he wants this just as much as you want to keep it. And for you to you didn't really celebrate that. I noticed. And how are you? A few days now after that fight. It's a few days now. How are you feeling about it? You still feel the same way, or are you feeling a bit better about knowing that that was a competitor?
No,
you have to do what you have to do.
yeah, no, I feel it's similar, same way. Obviously, when I was in there, there's no face to me. I don't care who is in there. You know, if my brother stepped in there, I would try to do him the same way. You know, so like it's him or me.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a friend that I understand his ambition, but guess what? He wants to take what I have from me. I worked for years to be able to learn and have what I have. So for you to want to take that from me, I have to do you that way. And after the fact, I came to it. Then I realized, oh wow, I just shattered his dreams. I everything he thinks that he worked for, he thought he deserved this. I just shattered his dream. So it was very, very emotional for me having to have that knowledge, knowing that I did that to him. But I'm calm and I'm content with knowing that it was him or me, that he was trying to take what I had. So he would feel better if he shattered my dreams and took everything that I worked for. So no, that's the human. That's how life works. It's either him or it's me. But right now I feel better about the situation.
Yeah, I guess we'll look at the bigger picture, which is that was a competitor and you had to do what you had to do. It
Exactly.
kind of makes you look beyond, the emotional, part of the whole thing, which, it is difficult.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Israel Adesanya, our style bender. You guys have a very good relationship. We see what you guys do. You guys always support each other. But can you tell us about the relationship you guys have that we don't see on social media? Because that's pretty much where we see what you guys get up to together.
Yeah. I mean, it's that type of I think I don't want to say it's just a Nigerian thing, but it's an African thing too. It's yeah, of course there are people who don't want to see you succeed. Of course, there's always those type of people in life. Well, we know in Africa when we see one of our own succeeding, we claim them. That boy is from Lagos. No say they bomb me near that road. So that's my boy. That's my guy. We claim them like that. And so when I saw when Israel came in, I actually knew Israel before he came into the UFC. And it's just as soon as he signed, I was like, oh my God, we have another one. Hey, we don't become problem for them. So I'm a supporter. I want to see him win as much as possible. I love watching him do it because he does it with so much style. It's a different style. Don't be saying like my own. It's like drinking brandy and another one on a different vodka on that side, Ciroc and brandy. It's a different flavor, but he accomplishes it in a different way, and that's what I love. It's not like, oh, it's two brandy, two Nigerians, they are doing the same thing. Two brandy. No, he's a different flavor, and it's an amazing flavor because he's killing them as well, and I love to see him perform, and I love to see him succeed. And we obviously we talk outside of what everyone sees, before every fight, I had to send him a personal message, and the same with him. And, I really appreciate that. And not just us Nigerians, so Africans too. Like, I'm very, very close with Francis Ngannou, who is, from Cameroon, but they might as well be Nigerians as well,
Exactly.
So so it's just a different relationship when it's the Africans.
Exactly. And I think one thing, again, that I noticed, especially across all sport that involves Africa, they just pretty much like to associate them with just brute force, not so much skill, not so much the mental side of the game where you have technique and, you actually have skill. You guys are quite skilled. You've got your going on, and Israel as well is quite good at what he does.
Yes.
And you've kind of, at least changed that narrative that, look, it's not just about, Africans, big muscle. There's skill in what we do. We study what we do, and the record shows that you're 18-1 and he's 20-0. Like it's ridiculous what you guys have achieved. So let's touch on a few fun things. It's not always about the fight. I know you're very proud of your Nigerian culture. You know, I mean, your entrance song the other day. You know, when I heard it, I was like, "Come on, come on!" It was quite interesting. So, what are you into as far as Nigerian music goes, movies go? What are some of the things that have your interest?
Oh man, I'm into it all. Let's just say I'm all things Nigerian, all things African, and like especially in music, the Afrobeat wave is not just in Nigeria; it's taking the world by storm right now. So, you know, obviously, me and Burna personally we're close, and so of course his music is fantastic music. Wizkid, of course, is banging techno. Naira Mali, all of them. Who else? Pato Rankin, all these guys. I love the music. I try to support it as much as possible. But the thing with me is people have to realize is it's just how I live life. I'm honest about everything. So even with the artists, if you put music I'm not really feeling, I'm not gonna jam with it. I'm not gonna rock with it like that. But when they hear me playing music, I genuinely feel it to the soul, to my core, and I like it, which is why you will see me all the time rocking to it. I'm in my car. That's the most people get all the time from me. They look at my social media. I'm in the car and I'm rocking to some type of Afro beat, whether it's
Yeah,
Whiskey, Burna Boy, any one of them.
yeah, that's good, man. And these guys all obviously, they're super excited about you as well. I see when you get into your fights, they're supportive and they're posting your stuff on their Instagram, like Kamaru, come on, let's get it, and all those things. UFC in Africa, what do you see for loads of guys look up to you, and Israel and just generally Africans are doing quite well, in the sport, and they. I'd like to know what the UFC is doing and what you're doing personally as well to try and encourage some of these guys that can have what it takes to get into sports, and how easy it can be for them to get into sports.
Yes, of course. It's we're trying to put things in place. I'm always working in that. Me and my team. Shout out to Crystal, the lawyer that we work with.
Yeah.
Excellent, and KS management out there. Koye and Fela and those guys. Shout out to them. They're doing big things across Africa, but they're putting a plan in place to where we can potentially do something on our own, to where we can definitely you know help bring up the next generation of fighters, because right now, of course, that sport is not necessarily the biggest. We all know football is the biggest there, but we want to make it to the point where this is another outlet, this is another avenue. Not everybody makes it in football, okay, but try your luck in MMA. Try your luck in boxing. We want to give them another avenue to be able to exercise some of those things that they want to do, and be able to potentially save their lives and save their families. And so that is something that we want to do. We're working on it. We're talking to a couple of teams. I know right now there's a reality show, the African Knockout, that is, we're working with them too. We're trying to talk to them and see what we can do there and moving forward. But of course, me on my end, talking to the boss, we want to bring UFC to Africa.
Mm.
And I think that is the major part. When Africans see that, and they see that, wow, we actually brought it here, and they see it firsthand with their own eyes and see how big this is, I think it's going to spark something in that whole continent of Africa that's going to be monumental. And once we take over the sport, as Africans, then when we don't enter, we know they come out. So, that's what we're waiting
on. Pretty much everything we do, that's just our way to go about it. That's quite interesting. It'd be nice to see a few guys, getting a look at from this side, and maybe an easier process. Like you said, UFC is not quite big yet, but it's clearly getting there with people like you in the sport representing. Just to wrap up, how's it being a dad? I know you've been a dad for quite a while, but does that bring for someone that is doing this kind of sport, and you have to have that soft side because you have a daughter and all of that stuff. So how do you balance it when you're in beast mode, the gym, you have a fight coming up and you get ready, and then there's now that side of you that's like, hey, you know, my child, all of that. You need to, you know, be a dad at the same time. It sounds like it's not easy.
No, it's not easy, but it's great. It was great because um, before being a dad, I was so hard as far as mentally with everything that I do. I need to train. I need to do this,
Yeah.
that was so hard everywhere to where you get a daughter and it balances you out. Now I have to be soft. You know, you have to have that soft side to where it just you need that appropriate balance in order to be sane, to still be a sane person. And that's one thing that I've learned, and she has taught me greatly is you can't be that tough guy all day every day. It's not healthy for you. You know, you have to be able to turn it off, and that's my biggest adjustment with my daughter is I go train, I have it on, I'm the big, bad Nigerian nightmare. But when I leave that place, I have to be Kamaru Usman when I pick her up, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing being able to have that other side. People are shocked when they actually meet me. I don't go out that much anymore because obviously, like just outings because people are you people definitely want to see you, want to hug you and talk to you and be in that person. So I don't really go out a lot, but when I do, people are shocked. Like, oh, that's him. That's like you're so nice. You're a regular person because they expect the Nigerian nightmare to just be yeah. Yeah, they expect me to just be one kind. I was like, no, I'm still a regular person. I have to know how to turn it off, when I'm around people. So it's been besides that, it's been fantastic.
All right, just to wrap up, well, just a few more questions to wrap up. A little thing on Twitter by Jorge Masvidal or Masvidal. I don't know. I always make a mess of the surname, but yeah. So he's put out a few tweets. And do you care for this? Really? Like, what's your take?
No, I mean it's the thing is it's part of the game, and now I'm understanding more and more. It's part of the game because people want to be entertained.
Mm.
So of course I must entertain them. This guy did make mouth anyhow. Talking that yeah he can do this, he can do that, he can do this, and I know what I possess and I know how I prepare. So that's the most important thing. As long as I know that, I can oblige him. We can tweet, we can do this, we can do that. Unless he signs that he's ready to step inside there with the Nigerian nightmare, I don't want to hear from this guy. So I'm just letting them talk. We can tweet all we want, but once he signs, then we have a date, and I have to take care of business.
Fair enough. One last thing. Anything you want to say to people out there, especially on this side, that I don't think we get a lot of interviews of you on this side, so this is a very rare.
Yeah.
But anything you want to say to people
It's
out
a
there,
rare.
fans of your craft, people that aspire to do what you do, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I just want to say, my people. I know it's a lot of people see it and they're like, oh, well, how can we even get there? How can we even do that? We don't have those here. We don't have these here and this here. It's a work in progress. Myself and I'm sure Israel, Francis has already started a gym back in Cameroon. So we didn't forget. We didn't forget where we came from. We still have an eye on where we came from. We're trying to get to a place where we can branch out and we can make sure that we look out for the coming generations and we put something in place for them to be greater and even surpass what we do in our lifetime. So we haven't forgotten. Of course, my people, I never forget now. I want to make sure say anything when I don't do for this side, it go reach that side. So by the time where I don't come there, put everything for ground, it don't set. So now if you just enter 1, 2, 3 years, now don't become champion as well. So we never forget. Now we still there. We think of it now.
Sounds good. I can't believe I forgot to ask this, but quickly, what other sport do you care for outside what you do? Are you into football, basketball, any of these things?
Yeah, I'm into football and basketball. I mean, when you're in America, you have to. But my favorite sport to watch is track and field. I've always been a fan of track and field ever since I was young, and I love watching it. So, my Nigerians, we need to train, or we need to train because I know they won't watch Olympic. See, say we not dey that field, we know they compete. I know they won't watch that. So, sports minister, whoever they there, put the program in place to make sure we are representing every Olympics. So at least I have somebody to watch and root for.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you. We're gonna have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, current welterweight champion, UFC, and quite a nice guy. You know, I can't believe this is me. When I watch you, I'm like, hey, this guy is always so vexed. Beast mode, all of that, but it is the job. You have to do what you have to do. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My pleasure.